attention is the most valuable currency. And if you have been needing to get an audience to view your posts, your videos, your blogs, your content, this show is for you.
You are watching Influence Media, PSI TV, the Netflix of biz brands.
Trudy Behrman here. Let's dive in. So if you have had naked posts, no attention, no interaction, let's talk about how we can fix that. We're going to be talking about collecting an audience the easy way. So in today's episode, we're going to look at a story, what the Bible says, what research says, all to give you strategies to increase discovery of you and your offer. Trudy Behrman here. I'm the host of PSI TV, Profitable Social Influence TV. I'm also a doctoral candidate doing my research in influential reach. We do this show every week to bring you community content that gets your content creation amped up. Let's go. So in this story, many of you may know it, David is not yet king of Israel. He's still serving Saul, King Saul. And King Saul by this time has gotten very jealous of David. And he attempts to kill David. So David runs away. And when we find David at this point, he's hiding out in a cave, the cave of Adullam. And it says, David departed from there and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And when his brothers and all his father's house heard about it, they went down there to him. And everyone who was in distress, everyone who was in debt, and everyone who was bitter in soul gathered to him. And he became commander over them. And they were with him about 400 men. Now, David is a runaway and he has left everything behind. So he is not in the palace anymore. His life is threatened. And here he goes and hides in a cave. And before being a commander of a large army, now he is by himself. But eventually he is surrounded by 400 men. But who are these men? Let's look at it again. Everyone who was in distress, everyone who was in debt, and everyone who was bitter in soul. Now, it's an interesting gathering of people who become the first little group that is totally David's, with which David goes on to do many battles against the Philistines and ultimately win the battles against his own people, where he ultimately becomes king because Saul and Jonathan eventually die in one of those battles. But the point is that here it is, he has gathered to him the probably not the ideal. And a lot of us, when we go into business or we do our content creation, we have our ideas of, oh, we want to, be in front of the best, and we want to have our high ticket idea bought by, rich people. Well, that's not really how it goes. That's certainly not usually how it gets started. So David is surrounded by people who are in distress, people who are in debt, and people who are bitter in soul. And I tell you what, my business coach always says we attract who we are, not who we want. And at this point in time, these men absolutely represent who David is at this hot second. So a lot of times when you're thinking about who is going to be the audience that's going to come to you or be the most attracted to you, it may not be the ones that you consider you would like to be, the person in front of the stage that everybody's listening to. And it's all these big wigs, and it's not likely to be that, at least not in the beginning. And if you can receive that, it's going to make your audience building much, much, much simpler, because basically David is starting with the dregs of society. It's the dregs of society who have the most affinity to him at this point in time. But now if you notice, David is no longer alone. Now he is surrounded by 400 men. David by himself was much, much more of an easy target than David surrounded by 400 men. Even if those men were men who were in distress, people who were in debt, and people who were bitter in soul. He's no longer alone. Now he has a company of 400 men from which grows and grows and grows to the point where he has an amazing army that if you read the stories, he goes on and conquers many villages and gets a lot of spoil for his men. So where are you in your audience collection journey? Maybe you need to rethink who you're going after, at least in the beginning. At least in the beginning. And I'm stressing this in the beginning part because audience collection is a compounding experience. So attention is the most valuable currency, and that is a currency worth exchanging dollars for. So let's continue. Academic research, this is peer-reviewed research, and I found this research was very interesting because the study was on, does fake followers mitigate influencers' perceived influencing power on social media platform? So social media influencers are ranked based on their follower count, and this goes from micro to nano to macro and all of that. I don't remember what all those lists were, but I've done it in a previous show. And based on their following, is where they rank, and based on how much they can ask for ad revenue and this kind of a thing. So the research, I pulled a clip out of it, goes on to say, revealing the number of the study reveals that the number of followers to be positively associated with the perception of influencing power. So even if some of those followers were fake, and we're not going to talk about whether or not they're fake followers, that's not the point of this particular conversation. The number of followers is positively associated with perception of influencing power. So the more followers that a social media influencer has, is the more it is perceived by people, by potential sponsors, by people who may ask for them to be brand advocates. People are willing to pay them. The more that their follower count is, the more they are perceived to have influencing power. So remember that now. Remember that. That's very important. So when I talk about collecting an audience the easy way, I never said it was the cheap way. I'm saying it's the easy way. And for some of us, this is where we need to start. I certainly have taken part in every single one of these that I'm about to share with you. Now, does that mean we don't look for the organic following? Not at all. We absolutely want to get the organic followers. Those are the best. But I don't know if you've ever been in a church service and the evangelist makes an altar call, and people are scared to be the first one to walk up the aisle to give their lives over to Jesus. So in the same way, humans definitely have a herd mentality. We don't like to think of ourselves that way, but that is, there's safety in numbers. And as a species, we definitely like to see that we're not the first or the only. We like to see that there is a social proof. There's a collective that agrees with what's going on. So when I say this is collecting the audience the easy way, I am not saying it is a cheap way, and it is getting organic followers is absolutely not easy. So we're talking about that starter, like when you're going to start that fire starter type situation. Don't wait for the organic followers. Don't wait for them. Buy them. For example, spend some money with Google. Spend some money on Facebook. Spend some money, some advertising money, to get in front of your ideal audience. Another way that's easy is to get in front of the audience of others. And there are many ways to do that. You could be on a podcast, or it could be on TV, could be on stages, whatever the case may be. You could also sponsor events. Go to an event and have a sponsor table, and you can also do collaborations. I have done all of these, and I will continue to do all of these in addition to growing the organic group. But I tell you what, the organic following is easier and gets easier and easier the bigger your initial following, because the very first ones are the hardest ones to get. In fact, the very first 100 followers are the hardest ones to get. But once you get past that 100, it gets incrementally easier. So, and then similarly, like if you were ever trying to get your YouTube channel monetized, I'm telling you guys, I spent Google ad spend to get the views. Now, you know, you need to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours and spend that money. You want to get monetized? It's not, for me, it wasn't about getting money from YouTube. It was about what getting monetized with YouTube meant. I could now have my Shopify store connect merch to my account, all kinds of things that become available to you when you are a merchant partner with YouTube. So let's look at some examples of these. So this is my Google spend, and you know, I have multiple Google ad accounts, but I'm just showing you that I am actually spending the money. Now, a lot of times, a lot of people find it difficult to maneuver this back end of Google Ads, and I'll show you a much easier way, but I go in the back end of Google Ads and I get my ads running, the campaigns running. But also, remember I said, get in front of other people's audiences. Here is an example. I am speaking at a church event and I'm in front of a brand new audience that I did not have to put together. That's just one of many. I've done many speaking opportunities. That's just one I'm showing you. Here is one where I sponsored an event. So there's my banner in the back, and here's this crowd of people. And because I sponsored the event, I was able to speak and have a table presence and all of that and get in front of an audience I did not myself have to build. Last but not least, collaborating with others. So here it is. I've done various shows of on PSI TV, but the people who you see here are themselves very important people. This gentleman here is the immediate past president of UPS. Yes, the brown truck, the $9 billion retail opportunity. And these two gentlemen here are huge leaders in the leadership space. And by association, I am seen with them, and that helps. It elevates me as a leader because of me being associated with them. On this side of the page, this was another show, and this gentleman here, Daniel, he has 1.6 million YouTube subscribers on one of his channels. And this lady is an image consultant. She's a TED talker. And then this young lady has $1 million following, whatever. I can't remember what she said about her. But the point is the collaboration, because they share the show, puts me in front of their audience. So again, here's the list again. Don't wait for the organic followers. Don't wait for them, buy them. Spend the money, people, spend the money. Spend the money, because remember, the research says that the number of followers is positively associated with the perception of influencing power. You can wait and just, you know, trickle them in. But I tell you something, because people like to see those numbers, the more you have those numbers, when you spend that money and get that initial base of followers coming to you, the organic ones come easier. So don't wait for them, buy them, get in front of the audience of others. Another way to do the get in front of the audience of others is to be a guest on PSI TV, do podcast tours, get invited on stages, that kind of thing. In other words, you're getting in front of other people's audiences. Don't be afraid to sponsor events, but don't just randomly sponsor events. You want to ensure that the people are going to attend that event are your ideal audience, people who you wanted to be in front of in the first place, and collaborations with other creators, because that's another great way to do that. So here it is. This is my Facebook spend, and so this is blocking here how much I spend here, but the ads don't have to be very expensive, guys. 33,000 reach for 56 bucks. This is the 517.1K reach, over 500,000 for $11. Okay, but this was an awareness campaign. So different kinds of campaigns will also cost different amounts of money. And here it is, I'm up at 50,000 followers on Facebook, simply because I run these awareness campaigns. And it just makes it easier for the organic people to be willing to follow me. So when I open up my Facebook, I'm now seeing just constantly so many more people have followed me. On LinkedIn, I'll get emails saying 2,000 odd people are looking at my profile. That's different than the impressions now. They're clicking on my profile and looking at my profile. The more you have the base of followers, the easier it is for the organic ones to come easier and naturally. Remember that quote from the peer-reviewed research: a number of followers is positively associated with the perception of influencing power. So when when all your competition lines up, you're going to stand out because you're going to be perceived as having more influencing power. And that's where we need to be. We do not want to be one of the pack. We need to stand out. This is how people make decisions, buying decisions, follower decisions, sign up decisions. This is what we need. Now, remember I said, if you are having a challenge figuring out how to run a YouTube ad, check out VFly. They are official Google partners. They're going to run ads for your YouTube using Google Ads, but you don't have to go into the background of Google Ads and figure it out. You simply tell them the video you want, pay them some money, they take care of it. That's it. It's very, very simple. And I have a link for you. And then Facebook actually, you can actually get free help from Facebook if you go into their Meta ads and ask for help. They will give you a Meta trained consultant who will help you set up your ads and help you get some of the views and create those awareness campaigns so that you can get more views to your page. This is, guys, I said I was talking about the easy way. I didn't say it was a cheap way. I just said it was the easy way, but it doesn't have to be really that expensive. You can, on Facebook, you can tell Facebook you want a total ad spend of say $20. You don't have to have this, they're constantly in your pocket. You can set the complete budget for the ad spend. So what is your next move? You can do absolutely nothing and everything remains and you can keep complaining and you can get no traction, or you can decide to run those YouTube ads. And if you're not sure how, then check into VFly. I will have a link to VFly for you on this, somewhere on this page. To run the Facebook ads, I will have that link into Meta, and you just connect with them and get someone from Meta to help you place your ads. You can also consider being a guest on PSI TV. When you're a guest on PSI TV, I promote your show and you will get views to the show because I'm going to promote it. So that is another way for you to get more people coming to recognize you for who you are and what you do. Guys, this is the easy way to collect your audience. And when you do, your brand, you and your brand and your offer is going to rise above the rest. You will be the one that others want to hear from, the first name that comes to mind for the thing that you do, and the obvious choice from the pack. So I hope this was of value to you. We come here week after week and we value stack. We bring it for you so that you and your brand can go from unknown to discovered. Trudy Bierman here. Thank you for watching Live or Later. And I am super simple to find, and I do look forward to connecting